tuned in. Feel the flow, it's about to go. Defensive Dynamo, breaking down the show. Yo, we analyze the back line, tight in every zone. Talking 4-4-2, man. No one's left alone. From the press to the block, ain't nobody slipping. Full backs hold it down while the midfield's clicking. And the manners no new. We dissect the heat, no weak links, just tactical elite. We the kings of the podcast grind. When it's time for defense, we ahead of the line. Ain't no podcast fine, I check the play-by-play. From Milan to Madrid, we own the defensive game. We the best for the tactics, yeah, you gotta know. Defensive Dynamo, that's the way it go. Breaking down plays, we control the show. Defense wins games and we're letting it flow. Talking high press, low block, never out of phase. Tactics on lock, got you stuck in a maze. You think you're running game, but we ran every move. Dynamo's the name, yeah, we analyze grooves. From clean sheets to counters, we don't miss a thing. Got your strikers frustrated, clip their wings. Every pop we drop is a tactical masterclass. You can't compete, just sit back and pass. The numbers don't lie, XG can't hide. We break it all down, make the stats come alive. You talk offense, cool, but defense is king. In the world of tactics, we're wearing the ring. We the best for the tactics, yeah, you gotta know. Defensive Dynamo, that's the way it go. Breaking down plays, we control the show. Defense wins games and we're letting it flow. Yeah, you gotta know. Defensive Dynamo, yo. Defensive Dynamo, that's the way it go.
Milanisti, Calcio fans, what's going on? It's your host, Nicko, for the Defensive Dynamo show. What's happening? All right, so we got a couple of topics we're going to be covering today. The first one is Adli's revenge goal versus our Milan. All right, and how that went down. Hold on here. And then we're going to go over the most current transfer rumors that are flying around for January Mercato for our Milan. All right, a couple of players that have been rumored before, but does tie before. Midfielders, right backs, positions that we need to fill. And before I get into that, let me pull up. Make sure I got the right clip here. Hold on, I'm looking for a specific clip. Photo link. Post photo. Give me a second here. Where the hell did it go? Hold on there. Take a quick peek at something. I sent myself a clip of Adli's goals. We could break it down together. Where is it? Let's take a look real quick. Love, game, track, subject, track, mix, 1 second. All right, no worries. That's cool. Just gonna pull it up on YouTube. If we get clips for it, we get clip for it. Fiorentina. I could have sworn I sent the clip of the game, of that highlight that was that game, but it's all good. We'll pull it up from here. All right, Milan Nation, stay tight. Give me a second. All right, that's up. All right, Mike's goal. Here it is. All right, bam. All right, got it. Let's see who's in the chat. We got 2 people. tuned in. All right, I know it's early for a lot of people, especially in the U.S. There's some UK listeners as well. Appreciate it. All right, Milan Nation, Calcio fans, let's get it. Let's dive into this play. So, originally when I broke down the post game on this game, the Fiorentina loss, I sobered up with some friends, right? So, wasn't fully focused on that play. So obviously, I did notice that Pulisic was originally defending Adli on that throw-in, right? And I said he took I did blame the midfield for giving up too much space, but not realizing after I rewatched it yesterday, prep before the show, realized that Pulley, Captain America, actually made a really bad play, took a really bad angle on that play. All right, so let's get into it. Captions, Adli's revenge. Here we go. All right, let's see if this works. Like I said, we might get clipped for this, we may not. Hey, Carmelo, what's happening, Carmelo? Thanks for tuning in. So let's look at Adli's goal, boys. Screen share, Fiorentina game. Yes. All right, so that should be showing. Maybe not. Huh, there we go. Okay. I need a producer, fellas. Everybody wants to produce this show, let me know. I can't promise you a huge pay, but I need somebody to start running these the board for me, because sometimes it gets a little bit too much. All right, so let's backtrack this a second here. There's the throw-in, right? So Pulley's right there on Adli. That's Fofana. There's Morata. He's guarding somebody. All right. It looks like Tajani is marking him. So it looks like there's a man marking situation going on here. With the double team in the Keane in the box, the two center backs. Here's a play involved. Play comes in to Adli. Boom. So he's already in a bad spot. Pulley. All right. You never ever want to be in this situation chasing Adli. He should have been behind him. That's the first mistake on Pulley. All right, as a defender, that's just a bad spot to be in. You need to be sitting right behind your opponent on that throw-in. Give him a little bit of space, actually. So if he's going to turn on you, somebody's technical like Adli on the ball. Adli's he was one of the most, on the ball for Milan. Now that we've gotten rid of him, he's flourishing at Fiorentina. He won man of the match in one of the previous games. Scored this goal against us. I don't know if it's the weight of the Milan jersey or what, or the way the coaching. Maybe he has a better coach in Fiorentina. I don't know. It's a possibility. He's more comfortable, but you can see the difference between some of our midfielders and Adli. Technically, he's a much more technical player. He might be slower, but in this case, he wasn't at all. So let's get back to the play. So right from the bat, Pulley takes a bad angle. He should have been giving him a little bit more space behind, avoiding him, don't allow him to turn, right? Forcing him to turn the ball back, pass the ball back to the guy who threw the ball in, or recycle the ball. But he didn't. He allowed him to turn. He's trying to catch up to him. You don't want to pull a technical foul there, a tactical foul, because you're giving away a free kick. You've seen some of our players do it before, giving away really bad fouls in this area. So he's already turned on him. So at this point, either Morata, being the closest player, all right, should have moved over and cut him off and allow him to pass it here, which is fine. That's a more high difficult shot, and he maybe had a chance to recover, or either Fofana needed to step up as well. Fofana didn't even react, man. That's a problem I had with this play. Fofana, for what, I don't know what purpose, what the reasoning behind him, he didn't even react to Adli turning on Pulisic at all, whatsoever. So, got one mistake here on Pulisic, and then another mistake from our supporting players that will support him in case he gets burned. He got burned, because he took that bad angle, like we said, and nobody reacted. Morata didn't react. Fofana was stuck in cement shoes. Like, he didn't even care to make a play here.
Please done well here.
Well, yeah, you got to commit more, man. Like, he committed Morata, but that's not a commitment. You got to get in front of the ball. And then Fofana didn't even react to push to even close out on Adli on that shot. Another high uncontested shot given by our team. And Fofana didn't even put his body on the line, didn't turn his back with his hands, on his side or in front of him to avoid getting a PK. Nothing. Adli pulls that rocket. He gets that shot off. And
Yes,
as we know, goal, far post. So there's that play. Now, I know people are fawning over Fofana, the way he's played in the last couple of games. But let's be real. This guy, and I've said it before, I've said it in chats, I've said it online as well. Milan fans are thirsty over Fofana just because currently he's our best midfielder, which is not saying a lot. Now with Benny being out for X amount of time, he was the same Benny since he came back from his injuries, his major injury from last season. Fofana, yeah, he's the best midfielder on the team now. But if we start comparing him to people like Gattuso, even Tonali, Kessie, a healthy Benny, he wouldn't even see the field at all or whatsoever. Nothing. He'd be riding the bench, grabbing him water, he'd be the water boy, all right, and cleaning their boots. But the fact that now our roster's filled with mostly mediocre players, especially defensively. We look at Fofana and the way he's played recently. He's played good. I've given him his props. I've shouted him out. I've given him credit for how he's played recently in the last couple of games. But let's be real. That's just like something like this is inexcusable. Not even to react. And Morata, I don't know what he was thinking as well. Shame on him. That's on him as well. You make a commitment, you don't even try to get a foot on the ball. And then, Captain America, as much great he's been with us, it's like grade school defending right there too. It's a throw-in and you take a bad angle from the get-go. So this play was just a mess. You're looking at a replay, it looks worse than it actually was on live. Carmelo, 100%. And Carmelo, let me throw let me give your credit here. Conceding from a throw-in is amateur. They're standing like statues. Yeah. And rewatching this, Carmelo, like I said, I watched this game originally with my brother-in-law and a friend from the neighborhood at a local sports bar. here in Mexico. And I saw the play, but I was like, all right, yeah, there was a quick throw in, whatever. Adli made a really good play. He took down Pulisic. He beat him. But maybe the spacing was a little bit off between him and Fofana. Yeah, okay. And I said that in my posting. We're rewatching this again now. Dude, I have nothing. I don't even know what to say at this point. And this falls on not just on the players, but on the coaching staff. All right, because this is an indication how they're practicing. Because you practice how you play. If they're practicing, they're lazy and not defending in practice and not going after it and not closing down on their teammates in practice and making things difficult and giving high quality shots like that in training, that's going to transition over to the game. When I coached, and I'm sure anybody who's coached the game, you say the same thing to your players, your kids. You say, you practice how you play. You practice like dog shit, and you're you're half-assing it. You're not training hard enough. You're joking around too much. Not really focused. It's going to happen during the game as well. So this is on Fonseca as well. And just like that, just my point, Carmelo. Fofana is considered by many our best midfielder, and we're screwed. And it's just by default. He's our best midfielder. That's all we got. And I think it was on RTV, and God bless RTV for putting on some good content, January TV. One of their guest guys, host, not co-host. I don't know if he's a co-host. He's a guest on the show, actually. I'm not going to burn him in public. He seems like he knows what he's talking about 99% of the time. But I was listening to one of their lives the other day, after the fact. And he had said that Fofana is one of the best defensive midfielders. He's a great defensive midfielder. Are you kidding me? You can say 100. Really, you could talk about football all day to me, and it sound like you know what you're talking about, and come off like you're actually the game. The minute you say something like that, to me, you lose credibility. You can say he's a good defender, he's decent. I can live with that. But with somebody telling me, somebody who watches Milan and knows the game, like this guy does, to go and say that he's a great defensive midfielder. Now what are you comparing him to Gattuso? Gattuso was great. If you want to talk about great Milan defenders who played the midfield, he was a beast. That's something that's any kind of, if you want to be a defensive midfielder, that's your protocol defensive midfielder is Gattuso. Scary guy who scared people, who intimidated, who defended like a wolf, like a possessed animal. And then I got some other Milan fans as well saying he's great. Fofana's good. He's really good. No, he's not. Whatsoever. He's average. He's another mediocre player that Milan has, that we have. He ain't. Fofana is another box midfielder. Yeah, we all knew that when we're targeting too. Only adapting in his new role or he's trying, I should say. Hey, he's trying. I give him that. He's done well. He's adapted over the last couple of games. But for anybody to say that he's a great defensive midfielder or to be thirsty over him, you just lose it for me. I can't. Me and I'm sure I can speak for a lot of other Milan fans that watch the show and our other shows that support our channel. Who've watched great Milan teams in the past are not happy with this. It's mediocre, being content with mediocre players. And then we're going to, in the next segment, and we're going to roll into in a few minutes, we're going to get into more mediocre players that we're supposedly tied to for the transfer for the January Mercato. All right. Great. Let's just add more mediocre players on the team. Excellent. This is what we're going for nowadays. Hey, what's happening, Renee? Thanks for locking in. Very few players in the game today could be compared to past Milan players. Fofana is average so far, but he just got here, so it's too early to judge. Yeah, look at Renee. I'm not saying we should give the guy time. I'm not saying we should get rid of him. Like I said I liked what I've seen from him. But to consider him great, he's not some 19-year-old kid. If he was 19 and he had potential and he had a huge ceiling, I'd say, okay, he could turn out to be great. Yeah, granted, Fofana plays for the national team for France. Yeah, but so does Musa, plays for the national team for the U.S. and he starts. Doesn't tell me much. It's just the depth, the lack in depth in that position. And sure, maybe he'll turn out to be a really good player. But to say he's great now and to be thirsty and say he's, wow, look at Fofana, look what he's doing. He's doing his job. I expect that out of a professional player. To do just the basics. If that's your role is to defend, you defend. Basic stuff. Just do the bare minimum for me. And that's hustling as well. If you're not there hustling, and then you get praised for it by some fans. Oh, look, he hustled today. If you're not hustling, at least trying on the field, you should be benched. I don't even want to see you in the field. You don't even deserve to wear that badge, those colors. You're spit in the face of every other player that's come before you. If you're not, especially for our club. Yeah, we're going to get into those other players that we're tied to in a second. We need a positional CDL. Rodri, Rodri we're never going to play. Or a Casemiro type player. And there are plenty out there as well. If Mercato did his job, there's plenty of talented kids, let's just say, from South America, from Brazil, Argentina, Chile, all these countries that have a rich pool of kids, talented players that are being snatched up by teams like Chelsea and things like that, left and right. But God forbid we try to reach out to one of these teams out here in South America for one of their midfielders. I'd be super excited if we were looking at trying to sign a 18, 19-year-old midfielder from South America. Like the level of that kid, Kendry Baz, I think his name is. I'd be super excited. I'd be extremely happy for our club that we have that kind of ambition. Especially if we're not playing our own players, our own Futuro players, perimeter players, which is another thing for another day. Those kids haven't touched the field at all. We haven't seen Zaroli touch the field hardly this season. Even the kid Voss that we picked up from Ajax hasn't touched the field. Everybody was raving about him as well. How well he's doing in the Futuro team, and he should be playing on the senior team. He hasn't touched the pitch either. So the two midfielders that we have in the Futuro that could possibly play, especially Zaroli, he's been with the club forever since he was a kid, and we've seen what he's done on the field when he's played. And we have Voss, another kid that people are talking about. And those two kids are they're still playing at Futuro at Serie C and struggling as a team right now as well. Yep, even Pioli last season didn't demand that kind of player, thinking that he could play in a 4-2-3 system, or a 2-3-1 system. And I wonder if Pioli even had any power at left man. Carmelo, I doubt. I don't know. People say Pioli had more power when Maldini left, but I doubt it. And then Fonseca has less power. Anyways, I like the chat, boys. Renee, Carmelo, keep it up. I'm going to get to the next segment real quick. We'll get back to your questions. So transfer rumors. Transfer rumors are flying around again. We're in October, and there's some rumors circulating about certain players that we're looking at. So the first player that we're tied to is this kid from Syria, Morten Frendrup. Plays in Genoa. So I haven't watched a ton of Genoa games. I do like the fact that he's 23 years old. He plays for Syria, so he has the experience playing Syria. He's tactically good, right? He's market valued at 18 mil, so it's within our range. He's 178 centimeters, whatever. I don't care about that. I care how you play on the field. This is not youth football where you're trying to pick the biggest kids. So his key stats, this is from scouting-stats.ai. They're pretty decent site. So he's got a good passing accuracy, 86.90. Recovery, he recovers pretty well. The ball is good at recovering balls. He wins 47% of his duels, gets interceptions, recovers the ball pretty well. And so a quick little thing. Morten Frendrup is a tenacious 23-year-old midfielder. Dynamo was truly the heart of Genoa's engine room. In 23-24 series, he established himself as a midfielder enforcer for excellent shining and ball recovery, where he outclassed all his contemporaries. So, according to the scouting report, his key strength, his biggest strength, is recovering balls. Frendrup offensively, offensively, he's not there yet, but he's good at recovering and intercepting balls. So he's more defensive-minded player. And the fact that he playing for Genoa, going in that system, being in that Italian, system, he knows how to defend, because that's what Italian teams teach their players to do, especially in those positions. It's defend first. That's your primary job on the pitch. So is he a great signing? Probably not. Can he develop to a good player? Sure. But this is one player that we're currently tied to. All right. And then looking at, because I'm just going to focus on defense, because we need a defensive midfielder. I don't care. Offensive, we're actually pretty good. So he's one. The second player that's on the market that we're tied to. This one's funny. We're tied to Kieran Trippier from Newcastle United. 34 years old. Right back. This one blows my mind that we're even tied to this guy. So we already have a EPL right back that's, I don't even know what to say about Royale. Unimpressive. All right, let's be. I'm gonna try to be nice today. And his is another unimpressive right back. He's had some good games. Especially when he played us, when he Newcastle United. I've seen him play a couple of times in the EPL and the Champions League. He's a decent player. But again, decent. Keyword to key on is decent. Not a world beater. He's not a Trent Alexander. If we were tied to Trent Alexander from Liverpool, I'd say shit. Wow. We're actually tied to a high-level right back that could be world-class, has the potential. But we're tied to this guy. And this, like I said, these are just rumors. But just from the optics point of view, the fact that we've been tied to these players, we're not tied to even Coyote from Fiorentina. We're not tied to any other right backs that would blow your mind and say, wow, look at that. Look at Ibra and Mercato and Jerry are actually interested in making this team better and actually making a run for the Scudetto and building a real project. But no, we're tied to this climb. Like we need more EPL defenders than we already have. Remember Soraya, who can't defend for his life. We have Loftus Cheek, who's useless. Let's go down the line. Tomori, inconsistent. Right, relies on his speed most of the time. All right, when he makes mistakes, he's out of position. He relies on his speed to recover the ball. That's his only real skill, like his strength for Garrett Tomori. Another time he loses focus majority of the time. Who else do we have from the EPL? Defensive wise, this probably doesn't count because he's an offensive player. But defensively, every EPL player that we have don't do anything for us. Majority of the time. They're not world class, not one of them. And here we are, a team with all this history, with 7 Champions League. All those trophies sitting there in Casa Milan. All the great defenders that have come before these players that we looked up at as fans. We've gotten their jerseys and whatever. And we're downgrading ourselves to these kind of players. This makes my head hurt. Yeah, so we got 5 listeners. Hey, everybody's tuned in. Hit the like button to support this channel, support this podcast. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. All right, no new messages. Cool. Sorry to bother you. Oh, sure, Jennifer. I'll send you all my information, all my personal information, PII, Social Security number, date of birth. I'll send you a payment too. Give me my credit card. Why not? Thanks, Jen. Jennifer, Elise, thanks for locking in. Thanks for supporting the channel. No, Jen, not at all. Thank you, though. We're good. Thanks for spamming the chat for your ad there. I'm not going to give you my PII. I'm in cybersecurity, so if you give it to me, I might try to hack you instead. I have to load some bots early in the morning. Yeah, just good point on Tomori. I'm convinced now that some players, Tomori is one of them, at the Scudetto year, they just overperformed. Now, before we get into the next player, because there's a third player that we're tied to, what do you guys think about the other players from the Scudetto season? Because like even Kalulu, so Kalulu and Tomori at the end of that Scudetto season, right, the last 10 games, 12 games, whatever it was, when they were paired up, right? And this, like I said, it wasn't just them alone; it was that midfield that we talked about again and again, that strong midfield that we had, best midfield in Serie A that season that we ripped apart. Now we have this to show. This mediocrity, this average midfield that we put together, that Redbirds put together, right? All right, this is their creation. But do you think Kalulu overperformed as well? Because now look at him because when he asked the Scudetto season, he hit between the injuries and he was he lost his spot and he looked okay. But do you think he overperformed as well during that Scudetto season? I'm just going to ignore you, Jennifer. Thanks. No, I haven't heard this one. But anybody that Zoltan, that Ibra is interested in, I don't want to even be part of it. Ibra thinks he's running things. Ibra thinks he's running the show at Milan with his big ego, but he's not. I'm not going to even focus on Ibra anymore. But guys, Renee, Carmelo, give me your thoughts on Kalulu. Do you think he overperformed as well during that Scudetto season? Just like everything just gelled right between them and Tomori in the back. Because if you look at him now, Kalulu, since he's been with Juve, and I don't have the article in front of me, but a few episodes before I showed it, and it said that Kalulu, they interviewed him and they would ask him about how, like, the one thing he pointed out, he goes, this is not exactly what he said. He said pretty much that things at Juve, the way that he's coached, is a lot more organized. Things make a lot more sense. Meaning that the shit that Fonseca was teaching him during training and his assistant coaches was bullshit. That it was confusing him. That didn't make any sense at all. There was no structure under Fonseca. This is Kalulu we're talking about. He's not known to talk shit. He's not known to go online and tweet and get into these kind of start rumors up and start some BS. Kalulu loved this team. And for him to say that Mota is levels ahead of Fonseca, that's not a surprise, first of all. But for an ex-player to come out publicly and say that pretty much that the things that Fonseca is teaching him and his assistant coaches is bullshit, that it doesn't make zero sense. There's no organization. There's no structure to what's going on in that club. And we're seeing it on the field. Yeah, we're scoring a ton of goals. Yippee fucking yay, motherfucker. We scored goals last season too, in bunches. Kalulu had a downside in his performance with injuries, but overall he's a good defender. Yeah, he's good. He was serviceable. And then we went from a serviceable right back. Could also play center back. We've seen him. He's filling in for Bremer at Juve. All right, he's a very serviceable defender. Could play multiple positions, and he could play him well as well. He's actually could play at the right back, center back, for his size too, center back. He plays it pretty well. He's a good defender. Not great, but he's way better. He's head over heels over fucking Calabria, sipping on all that wine, hanging out with his dog all the time, and getting fat and happy. And Royale. All right, let me get back to. Hey, Carmelo, thanks for always supporting the channel. I'll catch you in the chat. Better, Carmelo. I'll take Nathan. Oh, what's up, Nate? I think injuries fucked him up, but it couldn't be denied that even when he was healthy, he couldn't displace Calabria. Yeah, listen, my point is, Nate, imagine, I know you like Calabria. Listen, when Calabria was on point, he's had some really good games for us. Napoli, to be example, when he was up against KK. He held his own. Yeah, obviously, Krunic helped him out. But somebody else we were missing as well, a player like Krunic who's serviceable, right? And coming off the bench, he's a good player, not being a starter, not depending on to move the ball up the pitch, but strictly defensive point of view. Knew what the fuck he was doing. He was a tough midfielder, defensive midfielder. But imagine having Calabria and Kalulu fighting for that right back position, pushing each other in training. Now we have Royale pushing Calabria, and Calabria has lost his place too. If Calabria is not being pushed by a better somebody who's good as him or even better, how is Calabria going to get motivated to continue to improve? But if Kalulu was on the team, I know this is over. He's gone. He's going to stay at Juve. They're going to sign him. Yeah, we get that, and good for him. Imagine we had Kalulu and Calabria pushing each other, training each other. Iron sharpens iron. Yeah, most definitely. Carmelo, we'll try to get you live again on the show. Yeah, I just said it before a few minutes ago. Coyote. But we're tied to, Nathan, I don't know if you caught this, we're currently tied to Kieran Trippier from Newcastle United, who's in the middle of his career. He's 34 years old. He's not some young pup. Another EPL right back. It doesn't blow my mind. It's not impressive whatsoever. Let's get back to the show, boys. So the last player, right? Let me turn the chats off really quick. All right, cool. The last player on the list. It is drum roll. Oh, there we go. Carney Chuka. I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Carney Chuka Mecca. I think that's the one. I think I'm saying it right. So he's currently at Chelsea. All right. And recently, Enzo Maresca, I think it's Maresca, the new coach at Chelsea, came out and said in an interview, they just interviewed him recently. He said he likes the kid. Right, he's only 20 years old. He's an attacking midfielder, right-footed. But this is an attacking midfielder that I know we've been tied of him before. But the coach of Chelsea said that, yeah, he likes him, but being that they're overstacked, they have a ton of players, Chelsea. They're stacked with talent. They don't have a place for him on the team. And that's the reason they're trying to get rid of him. They just overstacked with talent on that club. Well, a quick thing about, so this is from mastermindsite.com. the mastermind site. Yeah, they did an out. They did a breakdown about this kid. So style of play. So he's really covers gaps out of position and exploits spaces to receives. He's got good vision to pick out players in advanced, positions. He's a big kid. He's 6 feet tall. So he's really good on the ball. Really good control. So he can play at the 10 or the 8. So he's more of an attacking midfielder. Honestly, I don't know why we're even looking at this kid. I have no idea. A lot of talent. Kid's been on a lot of people's radars since for a long time. But again, why? Like, I don't even know if they're gonna sign him. The fact that we're even interested in him supposedly tells me this club has no idea what they're doing. Matter of fact, say we sign him. Just say if they sign him. We have an attacking midfielder in our Futura team that has crazy ability, liberality. And that poor kid hasn't seen the pitch once this season. We saw him during preseason. We saw what he did. He was pretty impressive. All right, he's impressed a lot of people, turned a lot of heads. Even for the national team that he plays for, the U20, right, U19, whatever it is. And this kid, and now we're supposedly looking for a player that plays the same position as him. That's just, if I was Liberale and if I saw our club sign another attacking midfielder, especially from, outside of Italy, taking my spot, I'd be pissed off. I wouldn't be happy at all. Yep. The only kid that looks like it would be okay, Nathan, I'd be okay with, is that kid Morton Friendrop from Genoa. He's a defensive midfielder. I talked about before. He's only 23. I'd be okay with him if they signed him. But if they went after Trippier or the other kid, Carney Chuko Wakamaka, whatever his name is, I apologize for butchering the kid's name. I hate when people butcher my name when I was growing up, too. Fucking hated that. I don't see where this club is going at all. If they're going to be going off for foreign players and not giving Liberali a chance, not giving Zeroli a chance, not giving Jimenez a chance. He's one of our guys. Bartasagi, giving him another chance. He's responding to, I heard him and Casada are on the radar. Yeah, listen, we're tied to a lot of players. The fact that we're tied to foreigners, I have no beef against foreign players, obviously, but man, when you got so much talent in Italy, you see that kid. There's a kid, the center back. I can't remember the kid's name off the top of my head, but he was playing for Sampdoria. I brought him on my previous shows. He's like 19. He's one of the most promising center backs in Italy. He's a big kid too. The fact that now we're tied to players like that. We're not tied to Coyote. We're not tied to, Parisi. Who, if we did lose Theo, he'd be a good replacement for him, right? And let's put it out there for a second in the chat. If Theo goes, and it looks like it might, right? He might not resign. There's a good chance. He might not resign with the club. What are your thoughts on him, on who would we replace him with? So say we sold Theo for, I don't know, 80 mil. There's a number out there. Do we have the faith in management, in fucking Redbird Kaka and Redbird to take that, turn it around? Yeah, they'll spend the money for sure. You think they're actually spend, say, 40 million of it and sign a really good left back to replace him? Or we're going to go ahead and sign some left back from EPL or from France or some other whatever. My bet, my money's on they would turn it around and get some other average, mediocre left back. And now imagine that. Now you have a mediocre fucking right back, doesn't know what he's doing most of the time on that side. Not even dangerous on the ball. All right. And then you have another on the left back on the other side, another full back that can't defend, save his life. And that it doesn't even bring anything offensively. Imagine that horror show. And with the midfield that we have. That's all I'm saying. Dude, Doji ain't going anywhere, Nathan. He's so goddamn expensive right now. Let's look at Adoji. We've spoken about Adoji before, Nathan and I, in previous shows. We all love the kid. He'd be the perfect replacement, yes, Adoji. Kid's an animal, man. He's super talented. I'd love to have him on the team. I think he's going to get some minutes for the national team as well. Let's look at transfer market. Let's see what the kids, because EPL teams are going to, even if so he plays on Tottenham currently. Let's see what this kid's worth. So this kid currently is worth 45 mil in the market. Sure, if they sold Theo for 80 or 60 or 70, whatever, they would have the money in theory to purchase a Doji. Even if Tottenham raised that they were asking for like 50 mil. I think that's what they would ask for. Maybe more. I don't know. Maybe they would ask for some crazy amount. Especially now that he's made 6 appearances, the senior, the Azuri too. His value is just going up and up and up. So this kid was, man. So he played at Hellas Verona too. That's where he started off at. It's crazy that not one major Serie A team would even try to didn't even sign him before he went to Tottenham. He went straight from Verona to Udinese Calcio, going back and forth between those teams. That's in Tottenham. End of story. Crazy how a talented player like that got lost in the system, wasn't picked up by one of the major teams. And I know we didn't get him. He's not coming back to Italy. There's no team that can afford him. Even we could afford him, theoretically, if we sold Theo, but Redbird ain't gonna spend that kind of money. Yeah, look at Jimenez too, but Rene. Have we seen any of these players play? How they gonna if they get sold tomorrow? Say if he gets sold in the summertime, Jimenez is not even ready to play. He's not even getting minutes. Nobody's getting minutes. Any of the players from the future are getting 0 minutes and not getting any quality minutes on the senior team. That's the one thing that we kept getting promised with. They kept throwing in their face. Oh, Fonseca's great. He loves developing young players. He's better than Pioli. Yada 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 yada. You know what he did during the summertime, that was just for show. Let me start some of these kids in the summertime. Some fans got excited. Wow, we're seeing Liberali play. This kid play. Where they're now. Working right at the bench for the senior team if they're being called up, or back in Serie A, losing games left and right. And he needs more minutes too, Nate. First of all, he would need somebody to mentor him. And they ain't it. Right? And I've used this in the past, this example. Look at Maldini. The kid had all the talent in the world coming up, obviously, being called up at a young age for Milan. Right? The fact, if it wasn't for the other defenders around him, the more senior players, they're on the squad at the time. Taking Maldini under his wing, teaching him how to game, teaching him how to read the game, teaching him the finer point of defending. He wouldn't be the same Maldini that we know today. He would have been a really good defender. But one of the all-time greats, I don't know. So I'm like Bart Tazagi, if he gets called up, or Jimenez, or whoever, who's going to mentor these kids? Who? The only one that's capable of mentoring them is Gabbia. That's it. And you know, shout out to Gabbia for getting called up as well. But Gabbia's the only player that has the ability to mentor anybody. Tomori ain't mentoring anybody. Pavlovic ain't mentoring no one. He's going to teach them how to hurt people on the field, how to body kick somebody. Like, he ain't teaching anybody how to defend better or the finer points of defending. That's it. And sure not Fonseca or his staff. That's another thing we're missing. We're missing leadership on the team as well. We had zero senior leadership. We saw what happened in the last game with that chaos at the end of the game, with the whole thing with the PKs. No leadership at all. Yeah, Nate, you got to put them out there. Let them, baptism by fire, right? But they know Fonseca's not going to risk doing it. He's not going to risk his job doing that. I don't think he has the balls. He doesn't have the power. He does. If we had a higher profile coach, sure, he might have taken that chance. Fonseca ain't doing that, in my opinion, anyways. All right. Yeah, Kirk's he's one of our former players, right, Renee? He's killing it too in the EPL. He's doing really well out there. I think for Bournemouth, he's playing for. He was one of our guys too. But I don't think he wouldn't ask for 20 mil. So real quick, let's look at Kirk. Milos, yeah, little boy Milos. Market value. So his market, you're right. His market value is 20. But Bournemouth, they would never sell him for 20. Back to us. That magic number that Redbird loves. They're in love with that number. They're thirsty for 20 mil. They see 20 mil and I don't know, they get all excited. And he's playing for the Hungary national team. That's he made 21 appearances, so his value's up automatically for that. And his value is just going up and up and up. What was his contract look like? So he played for our U19 back in 2022. We had him for a bit. We just decided not to break him up. That's another thing. We had him in our system in 2022 in January. He was our player, even the year before that, in 21. We had Theo, obviously. They gave him the kid a chance and played some minutes? No. Answer is no. So he's not going for 20 mil. This kid's going to go for over 25, 30, 40 mil. And even with the money that we did make off of Theo, come on, guys, you think that's going to happen? You think Redbird's going to spend that money? Again, big fat zero, not going to happen in a million years. All right, we're cutting into an hour. Damn, an hour already. All right, what time is it? What time? It is 7. It's almost 8 o'clock. All right, I'm gonna start getting ready to work in a bit. But I also promised you guys something. So let me throw this up here. Debut track. Let me just put it in there. I forgot to put it in. Debut track. Stay tuned for the next few minutes. So I've been making some AI music recently. The last few weeks I've been going ham on that. Just been spending some time on that in my free time with this really cool app. Mostly hold on. There we go. Mostly stuff for Milan music. Diss tracks for Redbird. Just about the club itself. Some really good music. We have a couple of those tracks on our channel as well, on Milanista 360, if you guys want to check it out. But I'm going to debut this new track today. Nobody's heard it yet, but we're going to close out the show with this Milan track. It's inspired, if anybody's used to follow Mary J. Blige back in the 90s, kind of has that kind of flow to it. All right, Milan Nation, Calcio fans, thanks for locking in. Thanks for keeping the chat busy today. Renee, Carmelo, Nathan. All right, even the bot trying to get me to sell my information for marketing. Yeah, thanks for locking in. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. And let's end this show on a positive note with this track. Later. Forza Milan. All right, Calcio fans, Milan Nation. Take care.
I remember the days when we shone bright, when the kings wore red and black, everything was right. But now it's different, man, the suits took control. Cardinal and Ibra trying to steal the soul. They running Milan like a business deal. But the passion we got, man, that's something real. Fonseca out here, but he's out of this depth. Got us wondering if we lost all that we kept. Players looking weak, lacking that pride. But we Milan faithful, we gon' ride. No matter the storm, we'll stay by the crest. Milan's in my heart, we the best of the best. True love, Milan is my true love. Through the highs and the lows, they don't wanna pick it up. True love, always standing with my club. Even though the suits got it twisted, they can't break my love. Ibra was a legend, now he's stuck in the board. Forgot what it meant to fight with a sword. Mercato and Ferrani, y'all playing the game. But the heart of Milan, man, it ain't the same. The fans in the stands, yeah, we see through the lies. While the management fumbles, we keep the fire alive. Players like Fofana ain't cut for this fight. They trying to win the stripes, but they lacking the light. No grit like Tonali, no heart like a Tuso. Y'all can't break what's built, not in this Medusa. Milan's forever, no matter how bad it gets. We standing with the club, no regrets. True love, Milan is my true love. Through the highs and the lows, they don't wanna pick it up. True love, always standing with my club. Even though the suits got it too could bring in the weak, they could bring in the cold, but this love for Milan, it never gets old. Fonseca's at the helm, but he's lacking the spine. Milan's built on legends, on warriors divine. Through the pain, through the loss, we gon' always stay. Milan's a true love, forever and a day. Gary might own it, but he don't own our hearts. We the curve, we the ones who been playing our part. So no matter what they do, we'll keep riding strong. Cause Milan's my true love, and that love is lifelong. True love, Milan is my true love. Through the highs and the lows, they don't wanna be get up. True love, always standing with my club. Even though the suits got it twisted, they can't bring my love. True love, oh Milan's my true love. No matter what they say, I'll never give up. True love, oh Milan's my real love. Through the highs and the lows, always rising above. No grit like Tenali, no heart like the Tuso. Y'all can't break what's built, not in this Medusa. Milan's forever, no matter how bad it gets. We standing with the club, no regrets. True love, Milan is my true love.